So my name's Arcia Aguina. I work with a school district. I help teachers and students learn technology in the classroom with instructional technology.
Hi ma'am, my name is Maheshwar. I am 8th grader from GPHS Penamaka. I would like to ask a question. What are some traditional or popular foods people enjoy in Texas?
So Texas is gigantic. It's one of the biggest states in the country. So it just depends on where you are in Texas on what people like to eat. So in Central Texas, a lot of people would say Texas is very famous for barbecue. So people in Central Texas really, really like barbecue. I live in far West Texas. So I'm in an even different time zone than the rest of Texas because Texas is so big. And my city is right next to Mexico, so a different country. So where I live, we eat more Mexican food, so more traditional enchiladas, gorditas, things like that. We also enjoy barbecue, but I would say Texas is different depending on where you are in Texas because it's so big.
Revati, I am an 8th grader from VZP High School, Penumaka. May I ask
Hi,
you a question, ma'am? My question is, do
sure.
you have do you have a favorite Texas dish or restaurant you would recommend?
So my favorite restaurant that's around where I live, it's called Cattleman Steakhouse, and it's a big ranch, and a lot of people travel to go there. They have cows, they have a bunch of different animals, llamas, chickens, and you can go down there and pet the animals, and then you go and eat the steak there. They have Texas Longhorns and cows that you can pet, but you also eat there as well. But it's a really good barbecue place, so very traditional Texas barbecue restaurant. Good
My name
evening.
is Monica. My name is Monica. I am a ninth grader from GPHS Penmaka. I would like to ask you a question.
Sure.
My question is, how does food in Texas reflect its culture and history?
So just again, it depends on where you are in Texas. Over here, we have a lot of traditional, I think, Mexican food just because we're so close to the border. So a lot of refried beans, a lot of rice, a lot of gorditas, enchiladas, things like that. Um, and I think, when you get closer to central Texas, the reason they like barbecue more is because there's more cattle there. So that's what's around to eat more. So that's what they like barbecue. So it just depends on the availability of foods and where you are. I think over here we also like Mexican food because we grow chili here. It's very dry here. I live in the desert. We can't really grow a whole lot of different vegetables, but the vegetables we can grow are very dry, like chili.
Are there any special food festivals or events celebrated in Texas?
Fruit vegetables. I think something that we celebrate a lot here is something called a burrito. Um, they said that it was invented in Juarez, so the city right next to where I live. So burritos are kind of like meat or cheese, and they're wrapped inside something called a tortilla. And people like burritos because you can travel with them. All the meat and cheese stays inside of the bread, and then you walk around with it. But that's something that we celebrate every year. We have burrito festivals. We also celebrate margaritas here. That's an alcoholic beverage that was also invented around here. So people try different recipes for margaritas and they have big festivals around it.
Okay, thank
What do you school lunches usually in school for students in Texas?
So Texas has specific standards around food. I know they have to have a protein, they try to have a grain, they try to have fruit or vegetables and milk. So a typical lunch item might look something like chicken with rice or a vegetable, and then a cup of fruit and milk is what kids get sometimes. It varies from day to day, but as long as there's a protein, some sort of fruit, milk, and grain, that's what they typically have for school lunches here.
Okay, thank you so much, RC. And I have a few more questions. So, could you please tell us about your experience as a teacher and what subject do you usually teach at school? And could you please share with us?
Sure. So I was a high school science teacher for a long time before I transitioned into my role. Now what my job entails is I teach teachers. So I teach teachers and students how to use technology in the classroom. So with new things coming up every day, if a teacher doesn't know how to make a movie or a podcast and they want to try, what I do is I go into the classroom with them and we try it together. So the students learn and the teachers learn at the same time, and then we learn how to create new things.
What are the topics that usually take place in training sessions for teachers?
Sure. So we try to build 21st century skills in our students. So coding, creating videos, creating podcasts. These are the new things that are coming out and the new jobs that are coming out, that we didn't have before. So we're trying to get our students up to pace and how to learn and how to create because that's how people get their messages out there most often now is through video, like we're doing today, right? So getting kids used to making videos and podcasts and to reach a bigger audience.
Okay, how often do the teachers take part in these training sessions? I mean, once in a month or a few days from in a year or what so it like that?
I think it just kind of depends on the campus and the needs. Some campuses are more technology savvy than others. We typically try to do monthly trainings. There's also just specialized trainings throughout the years for teachers, especially at the beginning, middle, and ends of the years. And then if they need support in between, they can call us in between.
So, in terms of the technology, in India, we have also started using the technology a bit. And earlier, we used to take the attendance in a book, calling the students. But today, we are using for smartphone in taking the attendance. Like that, there has been some updation in terms of using technology. So, how has been the technology usage in public schools in your country? I mean, in doing all these things, everything is in technology related, or you want to take other than is there anything that you do other than technology?
Yes, so we try to have a balance. It's called blended learning. So it's part hands-on learning, part technology. So it's not 100% technology per se because kids still need those hands-on skills. So we try to do a blend of both. And now with new technologies like artificial intelligence, we're trying to show teachers and students how to use artificial intelligence. Because I think a lot of students think artificial intelligence is an answers machine. I'm supposed to ask questions and it's supposed to give me answers. And now with artificial intelligence, we're trying to show teachers and students how to use it as a thought partner. So imagine having a friend that knows everything in the world and has an unlimited skill set. How can we use AI to help solve problems together instead of just having it spit out answers at us?
Okay, thank you. And you used to be a science teacher before you came into this particular new position.
Yes.
How innovatively did you use it to teach science? Because science is quite interesting subject for the students. If it is taught as per it should be, definitely students inculcate some kind of zeal in learning sciences. So, how different approach it was when it comes to teaching when you are in that position?
I always the two things I really liked about teaching science was the labs and the tech. Those are the two things I really, really liked. And science, if you don't make it engaging and interesting, could be a boring subject. So I try to have the students do different things. I remember one time I gave them each a different disease, and some of these diseases they hadn't heard of before. For example, chickenpox. Chickenpox, a lot of my students hadn't seen because now there's a vaccine for it. So I would have give them a subject, and they'd have to go home and interview their parents, and their parents would talk about how they took oatmeal baths and taped oven mitts to their hands so they wouldn't scratch themselves because they had chicken pox. And they had to do some research. They had to figure out what type of virus it was, treatments for it, symptoms, and they had to talk about it in a podcast. So that was something that was really fun. And I think a lot of math and science teachers are like, they stay away from technology because they're like, oh, that's not for me. That's not for a science teacher. But I had my kids make videos and podcasts and animations because science is just a story. And if you can animate, how DNA is reproduced, I know you really learned it. So we would do things like that to kind of, move away from some of the handwritten assignments.
Okay, thank you so much. And here is my last question. So these kids actually have been learning, I mean, all subjects at school. So besides that, these students usually attend these online classes virtually, and they interact with the different teachers across the globe. Do you think these kind of sessions are so important for the students to tailor the needs of 21st century?
I think so. The more you're exposed to, the more you see, the more you know. And, a lot of our limitations are what we know. So the more we know, I think a lot of those barriers kind of lift off because we know how to problem solve a little more and open ourselves up to more experiences and learn about new places and different things. Because if I ever go, or if we ever come to Texas, you know a few things already about Texas that you didn't know before.
Thank you so much. And if you don't mind, may I request you to give a message to my students?
Sure. It was really nice meeting you all. I had a really great time getting to know you and answering some questions about myself. And I hope you all have a really great rest of your day.
Thank you so much, and see